Well, and I try to invite people that I know usually come to donate, but what do I do if this isn't coming on the screen?
Open the camera.
Is it off? Closed?
Just so no one can spy on you.
How do you use this post notes? How do you use post notes?
Oh, come here. I still don't.
Not working?
I don't know what I'm supposed to see, but
Oh, just go to your Facebook thing.
it's trying to show it, but it's saying black.
It's saying what?
It's just a black screen. Oh, there you are. There you are. Let's see.
And then I'm so quiet.
Because like I literally want to just curl up on the floor and go to sleep. Do you want to know how hard it is to deal with somebody who doesn't know who they are?
Do what?
Know who they are?
I have a lesson about that.
What, dementia?
Oh, dimensions, never mind.
That's a different kind of not knowing who they are.
I don't know how
I was
much he does
thinking-
it for a living. I
was
do
thinking
not
same as
know.
Liz.
Come here when you have a sec.
All right, cool. Favorite game Jim and I like to play. How do you turn on the?
Yeah, you always figure it out.
Push buttons and talk.
Or most of
I
them.
always like to like.
Jed, do you want me there before 9 o'clock on Saturday? How many times have you-
Email me like coffee.
What? Oh my gosh, I'll stay in bed. if you
I've
want.
got dementia myself.
Yeah,
I take email.
we just talked about this not more than 2 days ago. I know, we both have.
It's okay, I forget 5 minutes ago, so.
Jim, I know I've done this before, so. Oh, there we go.
Yeah, that was,
I think it's this one.
So, yep, that button.
That's right.
Nice one.
that's the one.
It's the one. Wait, what did we talk about?
That's not too loud for people. I don't know. I can't even see.
Did we?
Oh, you just went back and read our messages, didn't you? Oh, I was gonna say, I think we were actually on the phone for that one.
You're one people on page.
I think we were actually on the phone for that one. That conversation.
All right, Jim.
Good to go.
Well, Blue, come over here while Jed talks for a minute.
All right. Oh, I see something. What? I'll just play through these speakers. I don't want to catch Jim's equipment on fire. I'll probably get him fired.
Maybe we'll get some new equipment.
Yeah. Aren't you in charge of that? Oh, hey, what? Good to see you, bud. All right, Jed, you can start them off, man.
Are we on right now?
Yeah.
Well, welcome everyone. Thanks for coming tonight.
Yeah, hold on.
Is there anyone here tonight for their first time by raising hands? What's your name and how'd you hear about us?
Corey Smith, known Blue for since Steelos days.
A million years ago, huh?
Yeah.
Well, welcome. Anybody else? You want to introduce yourself?
No, I just,
Who are you?
I don't know anymore.
This weekend, Saturday, 9 a.m., Highland Glen Park is the No One Left Behind, our team activity for the month, which is also counting as our monthly 5K. And while I'm at it, the running clinic will also be No One Left Behind this weekend, just so I don't forget.
Good idea.
No One Left Behind, the object of this is to run this race together with your teammates. It's a 3 to 5 man team, well, 3 and a 5 man team. And you're out there, you're running this race the whole time with each other, helping each other to reach a new goal. Reach something together. You're out there, you're with each other for the good times, through the bad times, through it all. If your teammate's struggling, you're struggling with them. You're helping each other get through it. The registration will be opened right up till I say go. Also, as long as you can take and register with us that day, go for it. I know a lot of people are waiting to see what the weather does, which I don't blame you, running when it's raining outside. It isn't fun, but you know, sometimes we get out there, we do it, just so we can go out and we can share in the memories with each other. It is $20 per person. And so come on out, join us that day. If you do not have a team, show up, look for somebody else that doesn't have a team. You go over, talk with them, meet new friends, and go. We are also still collecting donations for the 4th of July firework party that Rob Rich puts on for us every year. There, you can either, if you'd like to just give us a cash donation, we will more than accept that. Please do. We will accept anything, $5, $10, anything that you can do. Or if you'd like to get something out of your money for $10, we have a pink lanyard.
What are you pointing at me then? Oh. Pink lanyard.
Hey,
Oh,
we have a pink lanyard and a bag of freeze-dried Skittles that we will give you.
And those are good.
All donations and that, all money from that is going towards Rob's fireworks show. The more money we raise, the bigger the fireworks show. And Rob puts on an awesome fireworks show. Is anybody else have any announcements?
We do need to set time for the coaches to have a meeting about 10-year anniversary soon, so what we want to do.
I know we've got a couple people working on that.
Okay.
So
Cool.
whatever you guys want to do Zoom, let us know.
Okay. We'll do
All right.
it. Is that it?
Yeah, that's all I got.
Okay. You guys all ready for No Man Left Behind? It's not No Man. No one
left.
No one left behind?
We had to change the name.
Huh?
We had to change the name up a little bit from
Yeah.
talk 10 years ago.
I agree. Talk to Chris Kaufman about that. Nonetheless, I love doing this lesson. This is a fun one for me. And if you've been around as long as Jed and Ginger, you've probably seen this like 60 times. But it's worth repeating because of the message that it shows. Anybody here watch Zack Snyder's 4-hour epic Justice League yet? Only me, I'm the only nerd in here.
Like the second he could,
Come on,
they were
man.
like hit and play.
Not just.
Oh my gosh, so good, so good. Which is kind of what inspired me to want to represent this, is because yeah, it was awesome. Just getting into more depth of the whole storyline. I look at people that struggle with addiction also to a certain degree as heroes. Kind of a, I don't know, kind of a funny thing to say, because society out there will say that you're very much an anti-hero if you're an addict, right? It's very much not what people would expect to be inspiring, uplifting. But I think once you start peeling back the layers, you start seeing that there's a lot more to us than what the public's perception was, I've never met someone that struggled with addiction that underneath that exterior didn't have something inside, that heartbeat that was really kind of heavy laden with some emotional pain. And so much so that we carry an abundant amount of it on our shoulders so that, we try to make it look like we got the world under control, but slowly but surely our knees begin to buckle and we drop it. The relapse comes in, the continued use, whatever. But the thing is I've noticed throughout the years of doing this that people that struggle with addiction actually have rather large hearts. That seems kind of weird because most people think of it the opposite way, don't they? They think of it as if it's you biting off more than you can chew, jumping in without a clue, all that stuff. But in actuality, you struggle with addiction, you carry and feel pain very different. And no one would know, until things get really bad. You can carry this on. How many of you guys carried on an addiction for quite a while before your life became unmanageable, right? I mean, yeah, that's why it takes so long for it to just washes underneath the pressure. But then you have something that happens and people look at you as if you're the one that's broken, when it's like, oh man, I just carry a lot of pain. The hero's journey comes from Joseph Campbell. Cool guy, back in the day, did a bunch of research and whatnot. Talked about this premise that every hero ever written, from Greek mythology all the way through till now, Iron Man or Batman, all follow this exact same pattern. So classically defined, a hero is someone who was given his or her life to something that's bigger than themselves. Think about that for a sec, right? You're turning your life over to something bigger than yourself. I would classify recovery, sobriety, right up that alley, wouldn't you? I mean, think about it. You're giving your life to something big. We must let go of life that we've planned, so too is accept the one that is waiting for us. Think about that concept in the mannerisms of addiction and recovery, right? Did life go as planned? No, there was a hard part in the middle. Something hurt, we buckled, we couldn't take it anymore. We ended up getting stuck into that addiction and that void, and it consumed us. And then one day we woke up and we're like, all right, maybe now's the time to put on the armor. Maybe now's the time to see what sobriety has. I don't know about you guys. I mean, I'm speaking 25 years down the road since the last time I had anything illegal in the system here. And it's hard for me to even remember what that life even looked like. But I can tell you I wouldn't trade it for anything for what I have now. This life that I have now was completely different from what I thought when I was 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. It's completely different. So by going down in that abyss, we recover the treasures of life. And I love this concept because how many of you have had to dig really deep, even though you've stumbled and you've tripped and you found something worth being sober for? It's all there. Okay, Jim, we'll see if this works. It does not work. I thought I had it. All right, I'm gonna go back and let you guys listen to it from the old laptop here. Jim, why do I keep saying your name? If you give me comfort, do you know that? Like you're my go-to comfort guy.
What do Harry Potter, Katniss Everdeen, and Frodo all have in common with the heroes of ancient myths? What if I told you they are all variants of the same hero? You believe that? Joseph Campbell did. He studied myths from all over the world and published a book called The Hero with 1,000 Faces, retelling dozens of stories and explaining how each represents the monomyth or hero's journey. So, what is the hero's journey? Think of it as a cycle. The journey begins and ends in the hero's ordinary world, but the quest passes through an unfamiliar, special world. Along the way, there are some key events. Think about your favorite book or movie. Does it follow this pattern? Status quo, that's where we start. 1 o'clock, call to adventure. The hero receives a mysterious message, an invitation, a challenge. 2 o'clock, assistance. The hero needs some help, probably from someone older wiser. 3 o'clock, departure. The hero crosses the threshold from his normal, safe home and enters the special world and adventure. We're not in Kansas anymore. 4 o'clock, trials. Being a hero is hard work. Our hero solves a riddle, slays a monster, escapes from a trap. 5 o'clock, approach. It's time to face the biggest ordeal, the hero's worst fear. 6 o'clock, crisis. This is the hero's darkest hour. He faces death and possibly even dies, only to be reborn. 7 o'clock, treasure. As a result, the hero claims some treasure, special recognition, or power. 8 o'clock, result. This can vary between stories. Do the monsters bow down before the hero, or do they chase him as he flees from a special world? 9 o'clock, return. After all that adventure, the hero returns to his ordinary world. 10 o'clock, new life. This quest has changed the hero. He's outgrown his old life. 11 o'clock, resolution. All the tangled plot lines get straightened out. 12 o'clock, status quo, but upgraded to a new level. Nothing is quite the same once you're a hero. Many popular books and movies follow this ancient formula pretty closely, but let's see how well The Hunger Games fits the hero's journey template. When does Katniss Everdeen hear a call to adventure that gets the story moving? When her sister's name is called from the ladder? How about assistance? Is anyone going to help her on her adventure? Hey, Mitch. What about departure? Does she leave her ordinary world? She gets on a train to the capital. Okay, so you get the idea. What do you have in common with Harry Potter, Katniss Everdeen, and Frodo?
I love it. Think about that for a sec. Think about that in the world of recovery, okay? Addiction recovery, the hero's journey. Instead of focusing on the many differences between cultural myths and religious stories, Campbell looked at the similarities in the studies. They called them monomyth. And I believe that our recovery and our addictions, they follow the same path. It's pretty wild when you start kind of drilling down on what it all means. The 3 main stages. I want you guys to check this out, see if this works. Okay, the departure. Okay, the hero, which is you, departs from the world he knows, the world she knows, the world you know. Think about it for a minute. What was life like before addiction swung in? I'm curious. What did you guys used to do? What were some of the things you used to be a part of? What things you used to love? What things did you experience? What were your family like? Think about that for a sec. You guys remember when you were kids spending all the time outside, no cares in the world, you were just there. You were just involved with your friends and your experiences. It was awesome, right? But then there's a departure. Something happened. Could have been trauma. Could have been a move. Could have been something that didn't feel good. But there was a departure, and that world that you used to know is now kind of in the rearview mirror. Second stage. This is where things kind of come alive, right? You must face a series of trials and tribulations. Well, hello, addiction. Jim, any trials and tribulations for your addiction? Maybe a couple, right? A few, Ed? Couple? Kidding? Yeah, absolutely. Your journey's not safe. We know that. Right? But we've got to remember why it's happening in the first place. It's not just because you were bored and you thought, well, I'm going to go get addicted to heroin, or I'm going to go get addicted to pills, or I'm going to start drinking. Something happened that introduced that to you. The feelings that you carried for probably around, in guesstimation, 2 to 4 years caught up with you, right? Then you get tested, right? In battle, you're out there trying to keep everything afloat, trying to keep family systems, jobs, education, everything going, and it doesn't work, man. There's conflict, right? And then the action, you just got to keep pressing on. Tomorrow will be better. I'll quit on Monday. It never happens. And then you start getting all these allies, right? These people, like-minded folk, and they're just trying to keep you consumed, and you're getting stuck, and you're like, am I ever going to make it out? And as you fight, and as you start to understand the concepts, and you start to see different personalities, different experiences, different situations, you start kind of waking up. And then something happens, an aha moment. And then you start seeing that those trials and those hardships, that adversity is all stuff to help you grow. And if you use its energy to push yourself forward instead of taking a knee and bowing out, well, then you can know that you're gonna be able to see that light at the end of the tunnel. When you're on the other side of this, your life will never be the same. That's why when you have a little bit of recovery under your belt, month, 2 months, 3 months, a year, whoever, if you try to go back to that old life, what happens? Is it ever the same? After you have a period of clean time, when you try to go back, is it ever as fun as it used to be? No, there's a reason for that, right? A transformation has taken place. You know more, you're trying to understand things better. And then that experience, that process turns back into status quo, but it's different this time. It's different this time. So let's jump into this, Jed, your ordinary world when Jed was a little kid, what was your call to adventure? Who knows, man? Was it friends? Was it, teenage angst? What was it? Because I'm sure you had an experience where it was introduced and then there was some assistance there to help provide it, right? I mean, my call to adventure, moving every couple of months and having crazy foundations for family structure. And, I had everything I needed for the assistance I needed to get into this special world. Was in the fridge, was in their medicine cabinet, was in another car seat. I mean, it was very easily attained. The departure for me was different though, because I knew better. But something hurt really deep inside, and I'm like, I can't keep carrying this. And that departure for me was very well known. I knew what I was doing by consuming, by using, by hiding and lying and cheating and stealing. I knew that it was bad, right? Trials, many trials, friendships, relationships, all kinds of stuff. That approach to that crisis was brutal. This was kind of an interesting thing because I started seeing this about the time I met Marissa, where the trials I was going through, I had carried a lot of baggage, a ton of baggage. And as I started to kind of carry this and the approach for something different to hit that crisis point where she found out everything there was about me, she's like, hey, lunatic, go get some help or else I'm out of here. That wasn't quite that mean, but it was something like that. That crisis for me, when all my lies, everything kind of came spilling out, I had nowhere to hide. I was literally speechless. I know it's hard for somebody to probably believe, but I couldn't. When she called me on all the stuff because a friend, had said, hey, he's been going through a lot. You might want to check in with him. This is what I know. That crisis point was also an awakening. The treasure was right there through, but it was hard, you guys. That was rough. Because I had to be accountable to people that I had manipulated and lied to. I had to start figuring out, like, why am I doing this? Why am I going through this? What happened to me to justify this special world that I'm in? But after I started unpacking all that, the treasure was the light feeling of not having to figure out a different lie to tell someone in the morning, about being able to remember what happened through the weekend. About dealing with the pain and the abuse and everything I suffered, and to have a clear conscience. That was the treasure that I found. The result was huge. It was eye-opening. It paved the way for me to get into what my sole purpose is, which is to help serve people, to help get them through this, for me to use my experiences and the things that I had to maybe give to you the return. That was even more difficult because when Marissa and I bought our first house and we're sitting there and we're like, this is weird. We have our own home. This is bizarre. I've never stayed put for this long. Our first house, we ended up staying for how many years?
2 years.
No, I'm talking about our
Oh, 17
17 years. That return to that new life was wild, but I loved every second of it. Having kids, being a dad, having a career. And right now, the resolution is I'm comfortable with where I'm at. Status quo, that normal part of life, is a beautiful thing. Because I'm different now. We're all different now, having experiences. But I'm 25 years removed from all this. But it's different now. It's very different now. And so I look at this and I think, all right, where are you? Where are you guys at? Look at this for a sec. There's a reason why we all found ourselves in situations where substance use took over. And you all have that in common. Your hearts are too big. And I know that seems weird for people that maybe haven't experienced this because they're like, well, yeah, but you took and you consumed. And we're like, well, yeah, because you might not have realized the amount of pain that I was going through. I might have looked the part as if I had it all together, but I didn't. That's how good we are. But when you start getting down here to that special world, 5, 6, 7, you can't hold on to it anymore. And there's an awakening. It's a beautiful thing. So if you look at this, you're like, well, where am I, right? I hope most of you guys are on that other side where it's treasure, results, and return. But there's some folks out there, there's some athletes, there's some friends that we have that are probably, getting back into the adventure and they're assisting their way back into the addiction. It's kind of a wild thing when you look at it. What does this bring up? Anybody have any thoughts on this? I mean, you look at this, yeah, Jimmy?
When I look at this, I look at it as, it's not just 100 or 360 degrees and then you're done, but it's a cycle. You're cycling through the special world and the ordinary world. But it's always in a different light. Once you make it around there once, when you go back through it again, the trials, maybe a little bit different. Your approach is different. The crisis is a little bit different.
Yeah.
But the treasure, I think, is always the same. Because we're always going to go through crises. We're always going to go through trials. It's just part of being human.
Yep.
But I think it takes us to that special world where once we've been through it once, we're better equipped and better prepared to handle those things. And like for me, I feel like I've been between 4 and 6 for this whole year. But I've already been around this circle once, and so I know the treasure that waits. And that's why I don't, pick up and use, because I don't want to rewind that clock. I want to keep going, and I know the treasure that's waiting for me.
And it's going to be different than the last, but it's there. Right?
Yeah.
I love that, Jim. I look at this too, and I think, even if you're in that situation where you haven't quite made the decision to be done yet, maybe this is your call to adventure. I look at Ed, you guys, and you guys. I remember when you came and we were outside down there during the COVID bust, and Ed, you're like, I'm gonna go run with these guys, and you're like, you come back and you were just like on fire, just like, whoa, I can't believe this. Same with Kenny. I mean, Kenny, you first rolled in with us over at UVU, having read, David Clark's books, and you're like, I'm called to adventure. It wasn't all kicks and giggles, though, was it? The crisis was when we were carrying that crap up to Windy Pass, man, right? So, I mean,
You go around it over and over.
yeah, but this is the cool thing. I'm glad, Jim, you said that too, because once you get back to status quo, doesn't mean you're done. I like the picture of that guy planting crops again, because guess what? It's just like, what's the Hobbit? Time for an adventure. There's another one just on the horizon. But the cool part about it is that special world, whatever it is, whether it's a trial, death in the family, financial crisis, whatever, it's never going to be as intense as that first go around you had that tango with your addiction. Yeah.
One thing I noticed, and I probably need to not think about it, departure is actually the biggest circle out of all of them, and to me, it means that that's kind of the most important checkpoint. Like, what decisions are you going to make from this point on? Are you going to go forward, or are you going to not? And I think that means a lot to me. Like, kind of that point of no return.
It's a good point, man. I like that, because if you think about it, right, I don't think we can ever just stay status quo, because no matter what it is, something's coming next, right? I mean, I don't think we're supposed to just have status quo. It makes sense that we have these breathing periods, but all in the same breath. And I love the fact that you pointed that out, because that departure can go one or two ways, huh? It can be a choice made of good or a choice made of like severe. And I think you're absolutely right, because I think that departure on where you're headed is going to make the rest of these, as you're going around, either easier or heavier to bear. I love that. Oh, yeah. So the cool part about that whole experience, you guys, is that when you start looking at what it means for you in your recovery, it means that you're always a work in progress, right? I'm a firm believer that we're never going to make it to the end. I mean, don't get me wrong, we all have time cards we're gonna cash out one day. What I mean by that is as we keep moving through sobriety, 25 years, I still feel like there's so much left out there for me to experience, to people to meet, that like, to me, it's just this whole other experience, right? You ever heard of people that say they plateau, they're having a great time, sobriety's going well, but then they hit this plateau? Why do you think they hit plateaus? I mean, jump back here, look at this. Why do you think people plateau? Where's that at?
When they get comfortable.
Status quo, right? Yeah, right, because there's times when you're like, don't bring any stress to my status quo lifestyle, man. But that's not how we're supposed to be, guys. We have to keep doing this. And you, the select few who have experienced addiction, guess what? Your life will never be status quo. Because you'll be helping people, you'll be experiencing new things, you'll be put in positions where you'll be able to, to lead by example. There's so many different aspects. I think if you plateau, it means you're taking a knee and you're just like settling. I've never felt a plateau. Jed, have you? You felt plateaued? How long have you been clean now? Do math?
9.5 years.
9.5 years.
But I can't say I've never felt a plateau, but it's when you feel a plateau, recognizing it, realizing that there's something that you need to change in your life and about yourself, and that way you can start moving forward again. Because if I'm feeling comfortable, there's something
real wrong. But see, that's what's cool about this, right? Is even if this isn't an addiction, but it's something that's going to be hard, you pushing yourself out of this, in my eyes, makes you a hero, because you're like, I'm making a change. This could also be training for a marathon. It could be training for Squaw Peak that me and Kenny will never do. Again. Never say never, right? It doesn't have to be something bad either, you guys. This could be also something positive too. It's a big deal.
Sometimes it's waking up in the morning. Is that called to adventure?
Absolutely, it's waking up in the
Go
morning.
through the whole thing,
Absolutely.
getting through the day.
By the time you're done and you get a new life, you go back to bed, you're like, yeah, the hero's journey today.
Absolutely.
Right? I think you can go as fast as you want through this. I think you can go slow as you want through this, but I wouldn't stay too far in that special world for too long, because it can get stuck there. You know what, man, I'm glad you brought up the circle size, and I didn't notice that, but they actually it kind of makes sense. We always are kind of promoting this new lifestyle, this if you're sober, life's gonna be great, but look how small the new life circle is. New life is kind of overrated, I'll be honest with you, right? Because we're always in that pursuit of happiness. If I can just be happy, I'll be fine. But look, that new life, that happiness, and the results, look at the results. After all that, look how teeny those are. I think there's something to that. I didn't even notice that. But where do we get the most bang for our buck, right? The calm before the storm, the decision through the departure, experiencing the crisis, and then the gratitude of returning back. That's huge. I didn't even notice. I'm glad you noticed that. Kind of a big deal, which is kind of funny because we all want results, but that's probably the teeniest circle there next to the approach. I love this lesson for a lot of different reasons. Imagine what would happen if we taught our kids this. They're afraid of going to school because of a bully, or maybe they got a test or an exam or something, or maybe it's a job interview or something. You're like, look, you've got this. And it's funny that every single hero in every movie you've seen follows this exact pattern. And we all think we're so darn unique. And we're not. Different characters, different stories, different plot lines, but the exact same soul of a hero. I love this kind of stuff. Final thoughts, questions, concerns? Ginger, you're killing it out there on the running trails. That's neat.
Not yesterday or today.
Oh, yeah, are you in a crisis or are you just status quo? She's like a loose shot.
Sure.
Absolutely. I love this kind of stuff. This is one of the things I love about Addict II Athlete, is watching those who didn't think they could do it. It's finishing a race. It's signing up for a race. It's giving it all you've got. It's showing up when you say you're going to be there. That's one of the neatest things to be able to watch with this. So it doesn't always have to be bad, but I want you guys to know that in my eyes, you're all heroes. I respect you all a lot, because I know you make sacrifices to be here. Jed?
Well, like Blue was saying, I've been around this team for a long time. I know different parts about. That's been around this team for, different things that you can look up, different things that you can go along. One of my favorite things that Blue used to do, which I noticed that he's actually uploaded some new ones, which I had not realized before. But before the podcast, before all that, Blue used to be really big in vlogging.
Yeah.
He blogged about everything. One of my favorite vlogs that he ever done is called, let's see, what was the name of it again? Sorry, I've been sitting over here reading it. A Real Superhero.
I don't even remember that.
You guys get a chance tonight, go to addictathlete.org, search around and find blogs.
Let's make Marissa read it, she'll read it.
You're gonna have to go back a little bit.
I don't know why you don't put them back on the website.
Is that one the one about
I'm on the
Brian?
website.
They're
Oh,
on,
is
I
it?
got them all.
Oh,
on
they
there.
found
Yeah.
out.
Is it
Like I
the one
said,
about
it's-
Brian Nilsson?
No.
Oh, that one's really good too. I
Um,
can't remember.
but
There's quite a few.
you're gonna have to go back in time a little bit. This is from April 2nd, 2013. And I'll only read a couple parts of this, but it says, would you be able to recognize a superhero if you look at one in the face? Would you be able to see the unique features that make them extraordinary? Would you align yourself next to them to face an enemy head on? Let me find another part that I've been reading a couple times. These heroes are not cowards, and they do not surrender to challenge or foe. They do not bask in glory of accomplishment, nor do they boast about their personal strengths. The only reward given to them is the occasional medal, a job well done, yet the inner reward felt deep. Within their heart is one of tremendous value, overwhelming love, immense gratitude, tremendous inspiration, and solid purpose. That's one of the things that makes a hero. I mean, we're not out there, we're not boasting about our strengths and boasting about everything that we've gone through, that we've done inside of our recovery and our life and everything. We are there to help each other and help out people that need it. And when you're laying in bed at night and somebody messages you at 10 o'clock, says that you're struggling. Somebody calls and says, hey, I need to go for a run. Right there, you guys are being superheroes. Like I said, I'm not gonna read it all because I'll be here all night. We all know I'm slow at reading. But jump on tonight. Look through these old blogs. Read this one. You can learn a lot of stuff just by jumping on addictathlete.org.
Oh, yeah, that was a long time ago. I forgot about those.
How do you think I teach half my lessons?
Yeah, I was gonna say, he always tells me, if you have a question, just go to the blog. I'm like, I don't even find it anymore.
It's a time that I think needs to be, to a certain degree, recreated as we get ready for this call to adventure, because we're gonna need all your help. COVID is really dinging our team, obviously. I mean, don't get me wrong, Addict Athlete's growing, we're opening chapters all over, but this home base, like we've been torn apart. And I'm excited to see what the future's gonna bring, but we're gonna need, you guys are the new hope, right? And so I need all your help, you know, and it's awesome because you who are here are the diehard, you know, ready to go on the adventures, because you're feeling something. When Jed reads that, it reminds me when we first started. I had no idea what this would bring, no clue. It started with me and Ginger and someone that she knows, and it turned into this. I mean, I never thought it possible. But then it's like, it started even before that, because when Takoya and I worked together at Telos a million years ago, you know, we both would take our boys out and go riding and go running and whatnot. And it was, you know, it was what we saw, athletics, recreation, and the metaphors of life and change that kind of made me think, hey, maybe we can do this on a bigger scale, create something different so that we don't have to just be typecast into 12 steps. It's huge. I mean, Jed says that right now, and it's funny because I've been making videos all day for our extracurricular recovery, and I'm like, there's so much going on behind the scenes that you guys aren't aware of, that I'm like, yeah, there's trials and there's an approach and there's crisis because we got time crunches and stuff, but I'm excited to release this to you when it's done. It's gonna be amazing to help a lot of people, but that's where you guys come in, because the thousands, if not millions of new people that we'll bump into that will want to be part of this team are gonna need your help. How did you guys do it? So I don't know, it's a huge responsibility, but it's also kind of a fun thing. So don't get too overwhelmed with it. Just roll with it how you live life. Don't get too nervous about where this is going, but it's gonna be fun. And I'm looking forward to Saturday. Saturday's No One Left Behind run is just a test run to see if we can do this for real. Not for real, again, on a bigger scale.
With the public.
So I need you guys to not be kind to Jed and give him critical feedback if you're like, this is the worst thing ever, I hated every second of it. Like, I need you guys to be able to do that because there'll be crises out there. And I'm excited to see what happens with everyone running together. Because I watched this when Jed and Jeff Smith and Tyson Rich went down and did this in Badwater in San Diego. And I watched this team of 3 people slowly fade into one. And it was the most amazing thing. I watched Jed give it all he had. And damn near give up the ghost in the middle of the desert. And I had to peel him off of that track to get him into the suburban because he wasn't doing good. And then there was Jeff and there was Tyson. And they got to this place where it was super hot. They had to go up this mountain. It was super cold. By the time they got to the top, Jeff was done. He couldn't go anymore. And that left Tyson all alone out there. But he finished. And he carried everything that Jeff and Jed had given him, but he finished. And there was a huge race. It was huge. And there were like 4 or 5 people to clap and cheer for him when he came across the finish line at like 4 a.m. with fog and freezing temperatures. And I'm like, this is crazy. So I'm excited for you guys to experience this on a smaller scale because this is where real relationships are. Your relationship with Tyson and with Jeff, what's it like?
Now, me, Tyson, Jeff, and you don't see those guys here at meetings that very often anymore, but we all still talk to each other. We talk a lot about getting the whole trio back together, just going out there, running with each other. We shared a lot of great memories together. We learned each other's strong points. We learned each other's weak points. Like I say, no one left behind. It's something that's been in the making now for at least 9 years. I've been coming to Catholic for 9 years now, and it's been in the making ever since then. It's being able to get out there and get to know your teammates, like me, Jeff, and Tyson. And it's being able to push each other to help each other get better, or help each other get stronger. Be able to push each other and that can help each other help you guys get to your weak points. If you're gonna be weak, why not be weak when you're with friends? If you're gonna be strong, why not be strong to help carry your friends through? We all help carry each other that day, and even though me and Jeff end up dropping, we're still there to help carry Tyson. Give him water, give him food, and help carry him across that finish line. It was a tough run. The run later on this year is going to be a little bit tougher, but right now it's time for everybody to get out there, everybody to test this one out, decide if they want to do it for real, and start training for the bigger run.
Was it 80 miles?
That one, Salton Sea was 81 miles.
81 miles.
Went from Salton Sea up to top of.
That's spooky mountains.
Yeah, somewhere place.
Somewhere in the clouds. They were in the
And
clouds.
then at about mile 70, all of a sudden, we had 2 other teammates show up, Ginger and Judy. Found us in the middle of nowhere. I fancy seeing you here. Why did you guys do that? Why did you guys come? That was a way out of your.
We knew he was having a tough time, and we wanted to make sure that he knew he asked for it.
You guys drove all the way here, all the way down to Southern California.
Yeah, it was a good excuse to go to the beach.
That's what I like about this team. Athletes, who am I?
I'm the champion.
Absolutely. Thank you all for being here today. Who's gonna go pump iron?
I love Mario.
You can do that. I don't even want to.
I want to, I'm just.
The opposite. I don't want to, want to.
Yeah, did you see that, Josh Hansen got, COVID? Crap. Poor guy.
How do I turn this off now?
Yeah, I see me comment on that.